Why do I feel we always do some nice breathing exercises? Here we go. Here we go. Right, so we are today going to basically do a post-mortem of how the current existing teams fared in this year's expansion process. So, the expansion process is done. It's dusted. All 4 teams now have hit their required 10 from the expansion process. They've now obviously completed the draft along with all of us that we just had back on June 17. So now it's full steam ahead to free agency and then obviously start the season. But oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just wow. Honestly, wow. I mean, I just kind of feel, you know, this expansion process has been absolutely dreadful for all because obviously we're going to have episodes where we will cover that another time. You'll hear our thoughts about it in future episodes. You're going to have an episode where we're going to do as a whole and then I'm going to do one for separate, which is just about me. But honestly, as we look at the losses, we look at the damage, and you just see the inconsistency. It's just, I mean, I'm gonna count them for you guys. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 of the 8 teams, 5 of the current existing teams have lost 6 players. Oh, yeah, that is not on. And you got other teams have only lost either 2 or 3. It's just absolutely, what the fuck? Literally, what the fuck is going on here? Just, so, I'm already, I don't know about you guys, I'm already feeling like, oh my god, are we gonna lose one of our biggest USPs next season? And that is our parity and the comparedness. Because some of these teams, they've lost big. They've lost big. You know, it's like some teams lost that many, some teams lost 6, some teams lost 4, some of them lost 2. It's like, how are we supposed to still keep this competitive balance going? It's just, I pray that's not going to be the case, but don't be surprised if it is the case. Yeah, just, oh my god, what is going on? What is going on? Just, yeah. And it wasn't helped by the fact that we weren't clear on how many players each team can lose, because it was supposed to be 4 players gone, 4 signed players. The team could lose 4 players that are signed, but then they didn't say, oh, how many of your free agents could go? They didn't put a cap on that, and that's what's then caused confusion, because a fair few teams have lost some free agents, and that's added to their tallies. But because the league didn't really say, oh, how many could go on that front, it's then caused this massive confusion kerfuffle. It's like, what? So it's like, seriously, what the hell are we playing at here? Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we're going to go through it bit by bit. We're going to do it team by team, and all our fans are going to hate us. We warned you! We warned you! We were going to do it! We told you! In fact, look at George. He's moving up as we speak! We told you we were going to do it. We told you we were going to do it. So, yeah. So we're going to do it team by team. we'll go in alphabetical order. Okay. So, as you got a little while to wait before we come for you. But anyway, yeah. So, it's team by team. I'm just going to go and double check that everything I've got down is correct. And then we'll get started, okay? Yeah, okay, let's do that. So this is your opportunity to go and get drinks and all that, okay? So you've got a few seconds starting from now. Okay, so our first patient... it is the Boston Fleet. Now, I'm going to let you actually lead the way here, because you have made a very big deal about Boston and their losses. So, let me run you through all the players that Boston have lost. Okay, so we just go up to it. Now, Boston, in the end, ended up losing 5 players rather than 6, because obviously they got Ella Hoover back. Yeah, that was what in a trade that was made. So they've got actually 1 player back, so it's only 5 losses. That they've actually now got back, because it was back. Because originally she did get taken by Detroit, but then obviously Boston made a trade to get her back, and also it was also some draft picks also in that trade. Yeah. So Boston actually ended up losing 5 players compared to 6. Vancouver also was in that situation as well. So we'll just so we'll do that again. Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, that'll be towards the end. Okay. So Boston lost Alina Muller, Hadley Hartmetz, Zoe Boyd, Riley Bregman, and Daniela Pizzoba. Plug, kick us off. Well, the big thing for me about Boston was how many defenders they were losing left, right, and centre. This is what concerned me the most. Now, Boston was an impressive team this year. They had the biggest turnaround year on year, largely thanks to Chris Sparr's coaching. So they're going to miss that next year. We've already talked about how there's a lot of pressure on Francois Metho's shoulders next year. A lot of pressure. So they missed that. But I felt their blue line was really, really strong. I had Megan Karen there, you had Haley Wynn there as well, who literally was a stand-up rookie. Yeah. So, but I just felt Boston's blue line was so strong, and that was a huge reason why they managed to put themselves in the position they were in for the majority of the season. So, I'm really concerned with Boston next year. If they do go backwards, it would be because they haven't got the blue line to prop it up. And I think of those players, the biggest hurt is losing Alina Muller. Right there. I mean, that's the biggest hurt. You know, she was a star player, standout. Obviously, she's won bronze twice with Switzerland in the Olympics. Played a huge role in both of those bronze medals for Switzerland in the Olympics. So, they're going to miss her. Yeah. And unfortunately, she's one of those, you were able to protect last year, but couldn't protect this year. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Yeah. Say we had on our list last year, but this year we felt there's other players that you think wanted protection over her. Yeah, and well, I think she was one of those many players that we put down for, keep her name in the back of our minds for phase 3. Because obviously, basically got a second protection, but obviously she never survived to phase. No, she did not. In fact, a lot of the players that we had put in the back of our mind for phase 3 because protection, they didn't even survive to phase 3. They all pretty much went, you know. Because Gilda was one of them, Scamora was one of them. So, Yeah, so yeah, a lot of those players we had in the back of my mind didn't even make it to phase 3. Yeah. So interesting, there's a lot of variety also got as well. Because I think look at some of these players, you know, Hartmetz, Boyd, Pezoba. Look at the thing. That's some depth scoring gone there. I mean, we all know how important it is for teams to have depth scoring. It's one of the key reasons why we managed to win the World Cup 2 years in a row. Yeah. So, Boston's going to have to lean heavily next year on Keller, Wynn, and Newark, and Japani for the bulk of their goal scoring. Unless their draft picks can step up. Yeah. If the draft picks that they've made this year can step up, great, you don't worry about it. But if they don't, then, ooh, yeah. That is a lot of variety instead of scoring gone out of window. Yeah, in terms of offense and defense as well. It's just bad. I mean, you look at Boston and think, wow, this team was seen as the contender for the World Cup this past season. And now, they could be about to take a massive step backwards. Yeah. But you don't want that to happen for Boston. For me, I feel like for Boston, I really hope they do not go backwards. Because this team did so much this year to put themselves back in the conversation to be a World Cup contender. And the last thing you want them to then go back again. But it could happen. It could happen because the man that led them the way has been poached. He's dropped the ship. He's gone over to Hamilton. He's going to go make besties with Lin-Manuel Miranda. So, yeah, that's going to be... oh, yeah. But honestly, yeah. Right, but Boston, the amount of players they kept losing was just crazy. And interesting, all spread out across the various expansion teams. Because Pezoba went to Zaze, as did Hartmetz. Yeah. He had in the process, he had Liam Muller going over to Hamilton, joining Chris Barr. Yeah, so it's just they've all been kind of spread out across all the various teams. Yeah. So Boyd Orton Hamilton. Oh yeah, Boyd Orton Hamilton. So that's 2. That's joined Chris Barr and Hamilton. So yeah, I've been begged there. Well, it hasn't got someone from Boston. No, well, we'll have to check that. Yeah. Where they're focusing on the losses, not where each team has got where. Yeah. Where it's huge. Boston's lost big there. Boston's lost big. And I do worry about that blue line going into next season. Okay. Any more you want to say before we move on to us? Because we are going to be up next. I know, you're already thinking, oh god, no, not us. Well, do it like a bus, treat us for both, just go rip it off, just go straight to it. You can never do that with a bandit. I know. Anybody wants to Boston, move on. Okay, we'll move on. Right, okay. Right, let's take our next break, and then we come back, we'll get straight into us, because we are up next. Ooh! Oh no. I think we all know who's going to be opening the rum later. I don't want to look at it. Yeah, I think it's fair to say last year, with the expansion process, we got off lightly. Because a lot of our big losses happened in free agency, which of course is understandable, because obviously in free agency, you do see a lot of big moves shift. Yeah. So, you know, Shepard's going, Cabba going, Flaherty going, okay, understandable. And when Demo looked up, okay, we missed, but I'm glad you were going in free agency rather than you being nabbed by an expansion team, expansion process, because that was still done more. Yeah. So we got off scot free. And the fact we got one of our players back from the process was just like, I think if he wasn't so wounded, he probably would have gone for Ross from Friends, but like, we were on a break. Oh my god. Do you two know what's happened with Sheetha? Why do you? She's staying. She's staying in New York. Yeah. They've just re-signed her. Yeah. That's good for New York because they're going to need a player like that next year. So she's staying. Okay. We'll have to wait and see if Jinsey Rhodes is going to stay with us. But yeah, but our losses this year are a lot bigger than last year. So we end up losing 6 players. I kind of feel like I should do this. Right, you know, because sometimes people do this with their pets. So I think we do it. So I kind of feel tempted just to do this. There we go. They can play dead. Because I've got to read this list. I don't want to read this list up. I've got to do it. So I've got to read it. But I can just see players going to whiz through it. So do you know what? I'm going to do I'm going to do it. This is a trick that I've seen a lot of people do with pets, but on the telly, by the way. You put like a blanket over them, they just play dead. And actually, this is his. This is his! This is his! So I'm not sure how he's going to feel about me showing this on the camera, but this is actually his. This is actually Plutter's very own blanket. So I thought, because this is a horrible list I've got to read out now. I just know, I can always pick my head, Plutter's going to wink every single one. So I thought, we do that classic pet trick to do on the telly, then it looks like he's playing dead. Let's go through it, shall we? Okay, so we lost. You could be tight, love. Yeah, just do it. Just do it. We lost Britta Salami, May Batherson, Kendall Cooper, Nicole Hensley, Abby Hustler, and Katie Knoll. Oh no! Oh! Open up! I command you! I want to do Miranda. But she's too busy doing traitors. Yeah, she's gonna get killed first. She's gonna get killed first. I'm sorry, no way is Miranda gonna be a traitor, and no way is she gonna make it to the first breakfast. No, easy first kill. Unless they do a twist. Unless there's a twist, it's an easy first kill for the traitors. Do you reckon Ross Kemp's gonna be a traitor? Because I think he could. Yeah, and I got that. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, just so sick. Well, it's a horrible heatwave outside, so you can blame it on that. I mean, I've had a few instances this summer. I still don't think I've recovered properly from. Anyway, never mind. God, where do you start? I mean, honestly, where do you even start with us? It's just, yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, to have lost so much depth is just, oh my god, that is so lovely. Because obviously, now Katie Knoll was a huge impact in the World Cup playoffs last year. Kendall Cooper and Abby Hustler were our first 2 round picks from last year. And Cooper had a good season with it. I felt if she could have stayed on, she could have maybe improved, but clearly there's only room for one Kendall on this team. Well, we'll see, because Schofield's still not decided. Schofield's still not decided. That's how I call it, she's still not decided, so it might be a while to go before we get to that, but anyway, oh god. I think for me, I'm gonna say it and I'm just gonna just sit the rest of the way. The biggest loss I think for me is Nicole Hensley. Yeah. You know, we had, for 3 years, we had the best netmining duo in the whole league. We're a tandem. Yeah, we're a tandem. I never known what a tandem was before in hockey until the PWHL. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good tandem. Yeah. We were the only ones who had good. Yeah, and the fact we had trust in both our netminders. Yep. You could put either in net, and even if we lost, they weren't the reason why we lost. Nope. You know, they were both trusted, so relied on, and the way Kingsley utilised them perfectly in the playoffs in both the years we won the cup, brilliant. Maybe that's the big reason why we lost this year, because Kingsley did not utilise netmind properly. Well, we did say in Game 3 to put Hensley in the net. Okay, we did say put Hensley in the net, because obviously, you know, it's going to be a back-to-back, plus, in Game 2, it did go to triple overtime, so Hensley would have been well rested. But anyway. Anyway. Well, what if, eh? What if? So just, oh god. So we're now basically the same position that Boston and Montreal are, in that we've got a good, rock-solid starting netminder as your big star, but you haven't really got anybody that you can definitely rely on to be the backstop if needed. Now, I'm glad we did draft another netminder in the draft recently. Good. The question is, until she gets some starts, can we trust her? Can we trusted by Hensley and Rooney? I don't know. To me, that's the biggest loss. And guess who fucking did it? Yep. Guess who fucking took her? Yep. Fuck you, Vegas. Vegas took 4 players from us. The majority of our losses all went to Vegas. So if that's as if I didn't need any more reasons to hate their guts. Especially how basically they only brought Tortorella to get to the finals. Oh, but no, it was worth it for I think it was in Game 5 when his face was absolutely red. It was quite a picture. I didn't know a person's face could change colour like that in real life. I thought it was only on the telly. I thought it was only in cartoons. Yeah, but it's such a huge loss. It's such a huge loss. Yeah. Do we need to go over again the light we had at Britta going, or well, we can't be wrong. Because obviously, you guys know how much we've hated Britta for various reasons. Not just because she's an aggressive player, but also because she is anti-LGBT, which for me is a big no-no. Yeah. So let's now all point paws at the team that now has got the homophobes on their squads. Yep. Oh god. Do we know about Shahan? I think she's been offered a qualifying offer. I don't know if she's taken it yet. Because if she has, then oh god. Yep. Yep. Yeah, honestly, we were just delighted when she was gone. In fact, I think she was the first player that we ended up losing, but we were just so delighted, and it's also great to see that a lot of other people also shared in our delight that she was going. And I thought what was so funny was how when her name got mentioned in the draft, the boos rang out, and Pluto, you still like, no, Detroit, no. Yeah, you were like, no, there's no point in booing her, you know what was coming. Yeah, I was like, I was pretty much like, well, she's been our problem for 2 years, now it's your turn, Detroit. Now it's your turn. So, now, no point in booing her, because you know full well the baggage she has. So, now, we had to put on it for 2 years. Now it's your turn, Michigan. Now it's your turn. And please please, PWHL Detroit fans, do not come to us asking for advice, because we ain't going to give it to you. And do not come crying to us if you can't handle it. Because we're like, nope. it would be like, for me, he'd be like, talk to my A, because I'm not interested. You literally just flashed your arse on the camera. You know full well that's not what the expression is. Yeah, well, with her, I think it warranted it. No, the expression with that is actually kiss my A, but... Or what the other one, or you go dare to the other one. Yeah, no, the PWHL fans, please don't come to us. If you can't handle hybrid on your team, please don't come to us, because here's going to be my response. Kiss my A, or suck my dick. You two are just telling this vulgar. Well, because no, we've had to put up with this for 2 full seasons. Yeah, and it has not been easy. It has not been easy these past 2 seasons, having to deal with that on our team. No. Especially when it got to playoffs and we knew Montreal was going to pick us, and it was just, oh my god, it was just unbearable. It was just unbearable. And because obviously it went the full distance, and then we had to go the full 3 trips to Montreal. Well, obviously in game 2 it wasn't bad, because obviously she got herself suspended. But honestly, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was starting to really get to me, because yeah, we get it, you don't like her, but you're the ones got on your team. We did, and we didn't like her being on our team. From day one, we never liked her. We tried last season. In our rookie year last year, we tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but straight away it was very evident of, well, no, you're not making it easy for us, so it's just like, no. And then this year, we pretty much cemented our position. Shoot her. Stone her! Stone the bitch! Yeah, stone her! Yeah, stone her! Yeah. Well, thankfully, she's gone. She's not our problem anymore. She's now Detroit's. And I don't want to hear you lot complaining. Because she's not going to get any sympathy from us. Nobody gave us sympathy. No. No one. No. Nobody gave us sympathy when it got too hard for us. No one gave us sympathy there. So we're not going to give you sympathy either. No. As these two said, kiss my O. Anyway, but yeah, but honestly, I made Babson go as well. That just really stings. That just really stings, because she's been a great player. It would have been a great depth squad to keep hold of, but Sydney Moore proved her worth the playoffs. So just like last year, playing in the playoffs proves their worth and gets protected. I don't mind that. Though, because I feel like we've got a good young player who could be into the next best thing. So I don't mind that. But obviously with us, you knew there was going to be a lot of talent there that we just couldn't afford to protect. So, but, just look at this thing. Do you need the blanket back over you? Yep. Yeah. Yeah, this has been, for us, this expansion process has been a lot worse than last year, because last year our losses weren't as big as this year, so they just kept piling up. Yeah. It was like, see how they just kept piling up. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any more you want to say, or should we just move swiftly on? I need recovery time. I know you do. So should we move on? Yeah, okay. Right, so he's going to go, we're going to go resuscitate Pluto. When we come back, we're going to move on to this year's World Cup champions, the Victoire de Montreal. No, fair is. We'll now move on to this year's World Cup champions, the Victoire de Montreal. And like us, they also lost 6 players. And oh! I don't think the blanket over tricks gonna work on humans, George. I'm not suggesting you do it. But whoa! So yeah. So here's who the Victoire lost: Nicole Gosling and Amber Codits. Well, I'll let you take that in a minute. Hedy Scamora. Oh! That was a player we thought, to think about for phase 3. Didn't get to phase 3. She didn't survive. Maureen Murphy, Cheyenne Angelo, and Natalie Nicoba. Right. So, you basically, the big memory for me with last year's process was you saying you felt that the Big 12 girl lose both Kaya Barnes and Ambrose. You didn't think Montreal was going to keep hold of either of them. And the moment the Big 12, it's so funny, the moment the Big 12's 4 protection slot got activated, straight away they locked Ambrose in. I know, they locked that in. They clearly saw you and thought, no, we're not having this. We're not having this. We are not having a British plus dog tell us who we're going to lose. We're not having this. We're locking her in. And then, unsurprisingly, the moment we start thinking about protection lists, you straight away said, I think this is going to be it. Bye-bye, Ambrose. You straight away, for immediately, like, just... It's almost like you kept it in your back pocket for a whole year, ready to then bring it out again and put your cards on the table as if you were playing Texas Hold'em. Yeah. It's just, well, we know the Big 12 could not lose their foundational signings. Yeah, we knew that. So, you look at that and think, right, here's who's on offer. You are the new World Cup champions. Prepare to get gouged. Right, prepare to get gouged. You may as well just go to the air raid shelter now and sit it out until to get you all clear. Right. I just knew. She's a player that any team, not just expansion, any team would want to have on a roster. So I just knew. I knew she was going to go. I knew there was no way they were going to be able to protect her. I was right. I didn't expect Scott to go as well. I know. That was a shock. Because was it the same move? Yeah. It was like, oh my god, she's going to be missed on Montreal. She is absolutely going to be missed on Montreal's life. There. That is, wow. That is just, wow. Crap. I think we all agreed Scamora was a player that really think he can get to phase 3 and still have her. Inca. Just, yeah. I think it was me that said Scamora for phase 3. Yeah. You did, and I backed it, because I kind of thought, because I kind of thought if we didn't need to do what we did with the actual protection list, we could have, but it was just, that's a big loss. That is a big loss, and the fact it was on the same day as Ambrose, wow. Talk about Vegas throwing a wrecking ball. Oh, yeah. Well, I think I've already done that analogy, so we don't need to bring that out again, despite this bloody weather. You're perfect mind to do that right now. Nicole Gosling as well going. It's like, wow. Yeah, that's a bit of a blow. It's like a deja vu thing, because we had one Gosling get moved to expansion team last year. Yeah. And then this year another one gets moved. So, God knows what happens when we have another Gosling coming to the league in a few years' time! Yeah, and you got more rarities that could come in. Is there a third cousin or something, maybe? Another sister? I don't know, but yeah, but that is quite a bit of a blow, because I thought maybe he would try to keep hold of her somehow. I just think, I mean, did us three even see Montreal making that pick last year? No. I kind of felt, because obviously I did not see Cal Circle going when she did. I kind of felt that would have been maybe a pick lined up for Toronto and replace one Carlson with another. But of course, obviously, Tio made the trade with York with terms of picks to get Shelton. Then Montreal had to swoop in and go, thank you! Because obviously, a big piece in the World Cup puzzle. A big piece there in that lovely puzzle that they completed. So, but that's not honestly, I'm not that surprised that we are where we are. with that. But yeah, yeah, it's a big shock. I'm just remember who she went to. Thousand? Just double check it. Yeah, totally right. It was Hamilton. Hamilton took her. Hamilton. She's gone Hamilton. Good pick there. Good pick there. Yeah, I just look at a lot of these and think, oh my god, a lot of these players played key roles in the Big 12 championship run, and now they're all gone. Which now begs the question, can Montreal do what we did? Well, I'd like them not to. I know! That's not the question I asked, lady. I know. I'm with you. I would prefer to not have any more back-to-back champions for at least a good 10-15 years, just while we're still very much in our young and growing phase. But if it happens, it happens. So, let me ask it again. Does this make it harder for Montreal to go back-to-back and do what we did in the first 2 seasons? I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. I mean, while you still got Pelaine, Stacey, Desbian, and along with Rock and Flaherty, who those two, of course, were acquisitions last summer. While you still got those 5, the question then, again, is where is your depth scoring? Because that was the problem Montreal had in seasons 1 and 2. They solved it in season 3, but oh look, you've just been ransacked by the expansion process. It's gone really heavy on your depth scoring. So we're basically, Montreal, you've gone back to square one. Yeah. So I do think it makes it a lot harder for Montreal to repeat. And I think it could be like what happened with us this year. So what? Gets back in, but falls early. Yeah. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen with playoffs this year. We might get next year. We might get 2. It might be 3 rounds. It might be still 2. Yeah. But I could easily see Montreal doing what we did this year. You stay competitive. You remind them why you're defending champs. You get back to the playoffs, but you fall short. Okay. Basically, what I'd say to Montreal is make the most of this while you can, because you might not still be here this time next year. It could be somebody else holding that cup in next year. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. But we all know my position. Yeah, because it's the same as mine. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, but you look at that list, you think, oh my god, where did it all go wrong? But with Montreal, I'm not surprised, because I did expect the Casualties to literally go all in and just, strike at both Ottawa and Montreal, because obviously these are the 2 teams that made the World Cup miles. And I said it during last year's expansion process, so I'll say it again now. If it was me, I would want to literally look at the 2 teams that made the World Cup miles and look who could I get from them. Because they will have players on that roster who know what it takes to get to the championship round and then win the damn thing. So that's what I would have done if I was a GM for expansion team. I would have gone there. But with Montreal, I do feel sorry for. With Ottawa, I don't. With Ottawa, I don't feel sorry for them. Montreal, I do feel sorry for, because with Montreal, there's nothing really they could have done. I mean, it's like they're in the exact same boat as they were last year. Because last year they had no choice in who they had to protect. And of course, last year they could only do 1 list. This year they could do 2. But the problem is with Montreal, a lot of the players they would have wanted to have kept hold of and put on that second list, they couldn't, because they were already taken. So Montreal, I really do feel sorry for the Big 12, because it's not their fault. They had to protect Pilar, they had to protect Stacey, and they absolutely had to protect Desbian. So it's really so I don't feel Montreal should look at the thing. If we did this or that. No, guys, honestly, you did what you could do. Your hands were tied. Daniel Stono's hands were basically tied, just like they were last year. She had no choice. She had to protect these 3 players. She had to. She had no choice, no matter. She had to absolutely protect those 3 players. And unfortunately, has meant that Montreal's losses, like us, are a lot more bigger than they were last year, and could be a lot more impactful next season than it was this season. Remember, I did think, going into this season, I did think Montreal had a very good chance of making it back-to-back league titles, because I felt, of the inaugural 6, I felt Montreal didn't lose as big as everyone else did. Going to next season, I'm not so sure, because Montreal's losses are bigger now, and I'm not thinking, we're going to see an impact. We're going to see this massively impact them going to next season. So, well, I hope they lose their banner night. Pluto! Well, I'm sorry, we lost both of our home players raising a banner, so I hope that they lose it. Otherwise, it's going to look like it's us. We're a jinx. Yep. So, but that's cruel. That's cruel. Well, nice. We're in off season. Nice season now go out the window. That's harsh. That's harsh. You'll be saying what it's because oh, next. No, I'm not that cruel. Plus, George the one picking her up for this. What can you blame me? They brought in the perfect arch nemesis for Tio! Who would want that to be the home playing Coca-Cola Coliseum and TD Coliseum next year? Who would want that? Who wouldn't? Yeah. Oh god, I don't know who you could pick to be the home player next year for Montreal and watch them raise their banner. Not us. Not us. Please, not us. Anyone else, but not us. Because I have been in that position, by the way. I have been in that position where I have to be there on, and guess who it was against? Oh, it was 2014. It was the 2014-15 season. I was their opener. And I had to sit there and watch these 2 be all smug as fuck because they've got a banner that really should have been theirs. Should have been theirs. You are in that playoff run. You 2 were only competitive in the Stanley fucking Cup final. I had you on the ropes in the first round, as did Ducky, as did Tommy. You should have been in that final. Yeah, well, I've got one thing to say to you. What? That is so childish. You see the abuse I have to deal with here? You see the abuse? Honestly, that is so childish. Anyway, but I have been in that position where I have had to basically watch somebody raise their banner. It's not a nice feeling, because you just look at it, oh, that should have been me. It's not. It's really not a nice feeling. It's not. So, anyway, yeah. So, is there any more you want to add, or should we just move on to the next team? That's it, right? Okay. So, well, first of all, he's gonna go a step for that. You are. Then when we come back, we're gonna move on to the New York Sirens. Yeah. Oh, did they lose big as well? Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of their players need the way to stars, eh? Oh! I had to do it. Right, well, New York, you're going to be up next when we come back. Alright then, let's now move on to the New York Sirens. I don't think there will have been many wee-wooing going on with this list. Oh my. The Sirens were the ones that were dreading this the most. Yeah. They were basically like, please don't split up my family. Please don't split up my family. Please don't tear my family apart. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, someone throw a wrecking ball at them. I thought you were about to quote the song there, George. Well, I was tempted, but thought it's probably not the right tone. Probably wouldn't be appropriate. Plus, I'm not getting my kit off. No one wants to see that! I know I don't. Oh god. Right, so Sirens also lost badly. You do realise you've now put a horrible mental picture in some of the viewers' heads. I know. So Sirens lost badly, but they also lost 6 players. They lost Kenny Osborne. Right, well, you can start. Kristen O'Neill, who of course was Star's EFO. Actually, wasn't a bad EFO for Star's yeah, naturally. Anna Jarowski, Maddie Wheeler, Taya Gerard, and Aston Simpson. Lady, start us off, kick us off, go for it, Osborne, straight away, go. Let rip, my girl, let rip. The floor is yours. Thank you, Claudia. Right. What was a big takeaway from me? I think I might have said it on the show. So get it on the record. The big takeaway for me from phase 1 was how every team bar one protected a netminder. Yeah. Every team bar one clearly saw the importance of their netminders, yeah, and saw the importance of the buying them, and thought, we can't let the expansion teams take this. I know, could you imagine some of the expansion teams might have to get their hands on, say, Franco, or even Rooney, or God forbid, Mash Meyer and Phillips, yeah, or even Reagan Kirk, yeah. You think, oh God, yeah. The only team that did not protect a netminder was New York. I'm going to go to the camera for this, because guess what? Guess what, Sirens fans? Karma's a birch, and she's a lovely woman. Yeah, when I announced that move, you Australian lady went full on Macbeth. You tried all 3 of the Catholic witches of Macbeth. You just found it so hilarious. Well, the irony that the only team that did not protect the netminder loses what? Losing the netminder, and not just any netminder. Let's start. Because Greg Bowen does not trust the other 2 netminders. Which is not surprising, seeing how Katie Shanahan is a homophobe! Yep. Stone her! Stone the bitch! Stone her! Stone the bitch! It's funny how, because you two are always worried about what would happen if I was put in a room full of homophobes. He just does worse! Well, now you can kick him in the balls, and I'll get my rocks. And then I'll have then I become accessory to murder. Well, no, because you just said it was in self-defense, George. How is you bashing a homophobe over the head with a rock an act of self-defense? How is that? Answer a postcard, please. How is that self-defense? Well, I don't know. It's just he tripped. How's it? On what? Yeah, even your wife's now concerned. Here. Oh God. But it's clearly he doesn't trust his other 2 netminders. Yeah. So what's he gonna do? Because I don't think New York drafted, did they? Oh, I can't remember. No, I don't think they did. No. And they should have. I was very surprised Vancouver did. Yeah. Because Vancouver in round 4. In round 4, Vancouver drafted netminder. I was like, what? You don't need another netminder. You've got Mashburn and Campbell. Unless they think Campbell's going to go in free agency. Which could still happen. Because I could see New York try to maybe entice either Chidi or Campbell away from their current rosters to be their starting netminder. I could see that happening. So, anyway. Well, it was just so hilarious. Because Osborne, and we did an episode on it, of course. She got pretty much 99% of New York starts this year. So her going. no, because it's the team that's yet to taste pearls and wants to taste it so bad. Good luck trying to get into pearls with Shahad on your roster. If she does become a star, don't mind that. I'm going to have to insist on making signs. Can I? No, you cannot do as well. Come on, because you'll take it too far. We can get back. No, I can have a band. What? A pride band. You can make signs and I'll have a pride band. Fine, I'll allow that. I'll allow that. I will allow that. I will allow that. I will allow that. Put pride tape on, you'll be fine. Yeah, that's a big blow. Chris O'Neill, I think, was also a huge loss. I mean, I think all three of us at the time were kind of a bit stunned that Saze used that EFO on her. When there were so many other candidates that you could have gone with for an EFO. But I think now we've had some time to process, now the process is done, we've had time to take it in. I actually looked at that and think, you know what? That actually probably was a good move for Saze. And I think you give her a leading role, she might be able to finally flourish on a team that has not done well. So, I think this is going to be good for Saze. And then you got Antraski's also gone, Maddie Wheeler's also gone, Taylor Gerard's also gone, Ali Simpson's also gone. 4 players who are kind of seen as like, you know, just as a good rock solid stable core. So obviously Saze relied heavily on Kaz Lokuba and Philie and O'Brien. But then you had these other 4 players who also you all should be leaning on, but they didn't really lean on. And they've now paid the price for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to buy your players. If you do not buy your players, then when the opportunity knocks, they'll take it. So I'm not surprised that these players left. It's clear though they weren't going to be productive on New York, and so they thought, right, I'll go elsewhere. Take a chance. Yeah, I'll take a chance on an expansion team that might actually treat me right and actually see value in me. And this is the problem with New York. That roster is so disjointed. You just can't work out what kind of roster you're going to see on a given night. That's why I kind of feel every time we play New York, I just feel like, wow, it's going to be quite a hard-hitting night because you just know what we're going to get. Especially when we're in Denver. Because obviously, when we're in Denver, obviously, we went off to the race. We managed to establish a 4-0 lead quite quickly. And then, in the third, you also came to life. Yeah. Because again, in the second period, we were 4-0 up to the goods. By that point, you think, oh, it's very... Oh, well, T's Cup don't normally come back from 4 goals down. 3, yes. 4, no. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That third goal, is going to be burnt in my memory for a very long time. Yeah, because you were focused on Osborne while we were focused on what was going down our end. Yeah. That third goal you got, that is going to literally be burnt in my memory for a very long time. It's just this, I'm afraid. That's going to be burnt in my memory. Oh, God. And there was, at that point, there was still a lot of time left on the clock. Not that we knew, because in Ballroom we were in block 1, 2, 2, and we couldn't see where the clock was on the scoreboard. So we had to basically just, rely on that file buzzer to sound. Yeah. Oh. Weird. So yeah, every time I see New York, I look at that and think, I don't know what team I'm going to see tonight. Yeah. So it would be very interesting if we do get to go down to a Sirens game in that bar and see, okay, what kind of, team we're going to get. We're going to need to have noise-cancelling headphones. Well, George is autistic, so we can get away with it. Yeah, we was, because obviously we were the whole way through. I found it really annoying in Denver. Because in Denver, you did get a fair representation of both sides. You had a decent amount of Frost supporters with us, and you also had a very decent amount of Sirens fans as well. And then the rest were just there basically for the love of the game. So we did hear the wee wooing, and it actually does get very annoying very quickly. So I think if we do go, because obviously we would like to visit as many teams as possible in their respective markets. If we do get to tick off New York, I think it needs to be a Sirens game where it's not against Minnesota, just so I can then not get so wound up by the wee wooing. See, this is the beauty of Saturday coming in, because now if we want to do this road trip, we can easily do it on. We can easily, if we don't want to do it when they're going to be playing our Frost, we can do it when they're playing Saturday, because I won't be as heavily invested as with Minnesota, because with Saturday, I've adopted them, but they're not my team in this league. Minnesota is my team, so. If for some markets we want to do the road trip, if we don't want to do it when the Frost are in town, we can just basically do it when Zaze goes to town, because I'm not that. I mean, I think, so I'd be fine. Sharky, whatever. Well, he'll just have to put away, I'm afraid. Times have changed, things have changed since 2023. Changed for the better, Now, of those four, is there anyone that you want to point out in particular that's a big loss? Samerson? No, Samerson for me. And Gerard, because I felt these were two big players that easily, you give them more time on the Sirens roster, could have really made a big step up. I think Maddie Weir is also going to be a big loss as well. They all are. And it just thinks, right, you know how last year we said Boston and Toronto were the biggest losers? You want to say New York this year? Yeah. What I will say is New York did not plan properly. I will say New York did not plan this out properly. You know what? Yeah, I'll go with lady. I'll go with lady. Well, yeah. Right, any more, or should I just start warming up my jazz hands? Oh, is it RNX? I'm also going to see if I can get away with inserting the clip in as well. Oh! You evil bastard! You evil bastard! I got away with it when we did with something from Big Brother, so I'm going to see if I can maybe try and insert the clip in a few times, because it's not going to be just me. These two as well were doing it as well, so... Should we move on? Okay, right. I'm going to go walk with jazz hands, and then all the fans, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. You guys are up next. Alright then, who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? We've now arrived at the Ottawa Charge. Now, the Charge didn't lose as big as other teams, but their loss is substantial. And we told you. Shall I go first? Go on, lady.
I told you so. I told you so. Told you so. You.
Told you so. Yep. We told you. We said, didn't we, protect these players? You didn't do it. You did not listen. And now you pay the price. This is why I don't feel sorry for them. No, I do not feel sorry for them. I do not. Look at who they've lost. Brianne Jenner, their captain. Roy Gearday, their first round pick from last year, who was drafted in Ottawa to a rousing applause. Emily Clark, who's been the backbone of this team for years. And also Peyton Hemp, who could provide a lot of depth to this team. All gone. And to make matters worse, we put on our protection list, we put Clark and Gilday. My God. You good? Go for it.
I told you so. I told you so. Told you so. You!
Okay, go on. Smart girl. I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, told you so. Yeah, we said it. We said. Literally, we did. Right, with the case of the potential for the charge, we did not even debate it. We knew Gwen Bits had to be protected. And straight away, we all felt Emily Clark also needed to be protected. Because there was a lot of, whispering, murmuring going about, would Brianna Jenner stay or would she go? Because I think she would have been an easy target for an EFO. That, I think, is what surprised me the most about Brianna Jenner going, is that she was not an EFO. Right, she was not an EFO. She literally just signed a standard contract, and instead the EFO went to Darryl Watts. Yeah. So that is interesting to me. But yeah, just crazy, crazy. I mean, wow. I bet you need to talk about Goldeneyes, George. Okay, yeah. I mean, for me, off last year's draft class, I felt for me, Rory Goldeneyes, that was the one that really stood out. I felt that was a really good, rock-solid pick for Ottawa. You could tell for the crowd, that this is going to be a really good pick. Her story was also really moved me as well, which we might talk about another time, maybe. I think we should be high player stories every now and then on the show. And I felt she had a really good start to the season. She did get named to TUSA's roster. I think it was really good that on TUSA's roster we actually did have some rookies from that 2025 draft class. Obviously you had Hedy Wynn on there, and then Rory Goldeneyes also got on there. I mean, some people could argue more for Hedy Wynn deserved it than Rory Goldeneyes, but you had like the case of O'Brien being snubbed, but I thought O'Brien wasn't really hitting the mark for most of the season. It just felt, I felt this was a really good player that in the future you give him more time in the league, you let her develop in the league, and I feel that she would have been a really good foundational signing for Ottawa going forward, especially if they're going to need to find ways to replace what they have lost. They've lost big. It's only 4 players, but those losses are absolutely huge. Yeah, huge. And of course, Emily Clark has been the backbone of this team. She, of course, got that game winner in the first game of last year's finals. It was, unlikely hero. And of course, it was also Clark who was in bold during that. What led to the time going game 4. Yeah, because she went down injured. And then before we knew it, we were all focused on that. And then before we knew it, we're tied up. Yeah. So, these are 2 rock-solid signings that you should not have lost, So, unfortunately, guess what, Ottawa?
I told you so. I told you so. Told you so. You!
Eric, here we go. I told you so. Told you so. Told you so. Okay? We know what we're doing, guys. We know what you're doing. You may look at this podcast and think it's a raging queen from England just mamming off what he feels like, but we are bright sparks. I'm not just an old face here, guys. We are bright sparks. I've had 16 years of being involved in the women's game. I've got 5 Olympics under my belt. I've got 2 World Championships under my belt. And I've got 3 full seasons of the PWHL under my belt. I know what I'm doing. We know what we're talking about when we say that you should protect this particular player. I mean, if you go back how surprised were we last year that we got a lot of our protections correct? Very surprised. Dumbfounded. Absolutely dumbfounded, because we did the list last year, we basically looked at it and thought that's what we would have done if we were in the position, and that's what we personally would like to see protected. We didn't expect a lot of them to be correct. No. We did. And then this year our success rate goes up. I thought this year our success rate would go down. Yeah, because obviously you've got 2 more teams to think about, and that need to lose players, and there's more teams gaining players. I generally thought this year our success rate was going to go down. It's gone up. Yeah. Even if you include the players on our list that got protected in phase 3, yeah, it's gone up. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I'm actually not done that, actually. I really showed up. No. So we know what we're talking about. So when we said back on the Protectionist episode, way before Phase 1 began, when we said protect Clark and Gilday, we knew what we were talking about. We knew because we knew that these two players, if you go lose, say maybe Brianne Jenner, you need to have two rock solid foundations in your roster who can still provide the goods and who can really help keep that competitive edge going. I mean, let's make it. This last year, you kind of felt going into this season, you kind of felt Aura was not going to be able to get back to the finals. Me and Lady had the faith, but that's because I wanted to see, a rematch, and I wanted to see somebody do what the Panthers have done, lose 1 year, then go back next year, win it all. That could still happen. That could still happen. Might take long, but you very confident was like, no, you don't see it. I'm actually now on that page. I am. Well, I just looked at it for, okay, Ottawa's lost badly in free agency. Casualties did their dirty work. I don't see a TV play, and they had a very slow start. I was so surprised they managed to pick it back up. Yeah. Well, so what? I'm going to basically do what you did last year. I'm going to say it. I do not see. Now, of course, with this league, I could get proven wrong, but I'm going to say it. I do not see the Aura Charge making it free for free in the terms of trips to the finals. I don't see it. They could somehow find a way to sneak in to the playoffs, because we don't know what's going to happen with playoffs next year. We hope it's going to be done differently to complement the fact we've got 12 teams now. But I do not see Aura right now going back to the finals. I don't. I do not see it in their future. Because they've lost far too much. They're losing more in free agency. So it's basically like, Aura, you've done this to yourselves. You brought this on yourselves. Okay? So I'm not feeling sorry for you guys one bit. I did last year because obviously, you guys really gave us a good run for our money. But you know what? Nah, you brought yourselves this time. You really have fucked this up. If we're talking about who the biggest loser is, right now, it's the Charge. Right now, it is the Aura Charge. Right now. Right now, it's the Aura Charge. And you know it's you guys. You know it's you. Okay? That's really crucial because this team has shown over the last 2 seasons that they can compete with the best of the best. They can put themselves in to be a World Cup contender. They've gone to the playoffs in both times they've made the playoffs. That is something very, very rare in sports. It's very rare in any sports for a team, every time they've made the playoffs, they go straight to the championship round, whether they win it or not. That's very, very rare. Yeah. But I just think, the game's up. The game is up right now. Unless you can do something massive in the off season, I don't see Aura's chances very high of going back to the World Cup finals in 2027. I just don't see it right now. I just don't. I think Aura, you are going to regret this. You're going to rule the day that you lost Gilday and Clark. So, dreadful. And Thursday, thanks you very much for giving us Gilday. Now, was it Clark went to Hamilton? I think it was. I'll just double check that for you. Did I went to Detroit? Yep. Yes, Clark did go to Hamilton. Okay. Yeah. But Sarze got Gilday, which I thought was a really good for Sarze, because obviously, throughout this match, I was saying how Sarze not really done the best in terms of signings. Not really done the best in terms of signings, but just, oh my bloody god. Really, Aura. Really? Really? Just, you brought it for yourself, guys. You brought... Do not come crying to me for sympathy, because you're not going to get it. No, you are not going to get it. Okay? And I do like Ottawa. I think the Charge got one of the most passionate fan bases in the league. But unfortunately, you have literally brought this on yourselves. You have no one to blame but yourselves here, guys. So I'm sorry. If you're looking for sympathy, you're not going to get it from me. Because I feel that you're going to be so impacted by expansion. You go so packed potentially. Because never seen the starts we had this year. Could do, but it could be even more worse. Because obviously now you've got 4 more teams coming in who are going to have something to prove. You've got Seattle, Vancouver wanting to get redeem themselves. New York is hungry for the playoffs, like seriously hungry for it. Yeah. So it's like, well, sorry, Ottawa, if you're stuck in the basement, then just remember why you're there. Because you gave away Gilday and Clark and Jeddah. So there you go. So it's all on you guys. It's all on you. It's all on you and your GM's head that you are in this position. So just deal with it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Well, we told you so. You guys both like to say before I do one more for the road? I just feel so frustrated with Ottawa. Because this team has gotten close to the World Cup twice now. And instead of going 1 step forward, it's basically 2 steps backwards. So I just feel like, what have you done? What have you done? Good luck trying to replace that talent. Good luck. Just good luck. Good luck. Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. You're not. You're just not. So, I think, one more for the road.
I told you so. I told you so. Told you so. You!
I told you so. Told you so. Okay, so while we may not felt sorry for Ottawa, the next team we did feel sorry for. Because coming up next, we're going to move to the first of the of last year's 2 expansion teams. And that is Seattle. So you guys, you're coming up next. Okay, so now we're going to move to the first of the 2 teams who were expansion teams this time last year. And oh, what difference a year can make. You know, this time last year, Seattle literally left, right and centre, got big stars, got reeled in big fish, you know, and on paper looked like a roster that could maybe, just maybe, compete for playoffs. Because I think of the 2 expansion teams last year, we kind of looked at Seattle and thought, they could be a playoff team, but thinking about who could be a World Cup champion right now, it's more likely to be Vancouver. So I was not expecting, given how bad of a season Seattle had at the end. I mean, obviously the Toronto finished last in the league. They didn't even win the gold plan. They had the fewest wins, both in regulation and the fewest wins combined. So why have they lost 6 players? 6 players? I'll run you through them now. So Kaya Barnes. Hannah Bilker, Green Schroeder, Harry Knight, Megan Carter, and Maria Capo. And that's a lot of firepower gone from Seattle. Yeah. That is a lot. Because look at who had the most firepower Seattle last year. Graham Mentis, Knight, Bilker. No, only Graham Mentis stay. And she has just recently signed a new contract out, so she's able to stay in. Those 3 gave Seattle their biggest firepower. So when they all went injured, it was really like, yeah. And the problem is, there wasn't really anybody who you could see who could then make that step up for Seattle. Despite that they had Alex Carpenter on the team. Despite that they also had Daniel Sadakny, who also should have been able to step up to the plate. Julia Gosling as well. It was like, what the? It's just you. Yeah, I mean, just the lack of chemistry really did the big, and you saw it more. I mean, in the second half than the first half. I think the first half of the season, Seattle's mistakes, they weren't as easy to spot until we got more towards the second half. And of course, we saw them on our trip. Yeah. That was the first game. Yeah, the first game on our trip was Seattle. And we could see that they weren't really, gelling. And it took a while to try and really get in. We dominated a lot of that game. Yeah. So I'm quite surprised they did get the score by the end, but But yeah, but at that point when they did get that goal, I was kind of put where like they can have one. They can have one, but yeah, no more than that. And of course, one was all they got. Because it happened quite midway through the third period, and by that point we were up by, I think it was either 2 or 3, so it wasn't much they could have done there. But yeah, but I just think, yeah, obviously the night situation, we've already covered that on another bonus episode. So I've gone through my issues with that drama and how it gave me a massive headache for pretty much the rest of the week. So I pretty much spent the entire of phase 3 nursing a headache, and then obviously phase 4 I also was reading from a separate illness that happened while I was at a family event. So yeah, so you could tell expansion was messing with my health. But yeah, so we've already covered that. That's now done with. She's definitely now going to Detroit next year. So good luck trying to fight for captaincy there, because I don't think that's a guarantee given. No, I think if she just agreed to be the last basis EFO, she could have stayed as a captain. So good luck to whoever's going to get to see Detroit, because woo! Anyway, yeah. But Hannah Bilker's a big loss, because I believe, wasn't that Seattle's first pick in the expansion draft last year? I believe it was. It was, yeah. Yeah, so they made a big deal to try to get her. And now she's just gone. Like that. She's literally just gone. This is a player who really, when she's healthy, is firing on all cylinders. And I think it was so frustrating for Seattle when she went down injured. Because with Henry Knight also doing an injury, you kind of needed somebody more reliable to step up to the plate. And Hannah Bilker would have been that player. Can I ask you a question? Because we know Alex Carter stayed. Is this down the road where she gets to see? Because she even say that she could be a future captain in waiting. It could be the moment, yes, it could be. This could be the moment, yes, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens, but it could be. This could be the moment. This could be when she gets that scene. But yeah, but honestly, just crazy. It's crazy to see how much love. Right. CG asked me a question, I'll ask you two a question. Going into the start of the expansion process, did either of you two foresee Seattle be the one so heavily targeted? No. I mean, why would she target them? They finished last in the league. And right now, it doesn't look like they're going to be improving anytime soon. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say this is the feeble version of the Kraken, but oh Jesus, it could very well be. The difference between Detroit and the Kraken is the Kraken drafted grassroots, where Detroit went for win now. You saw that with getting Hillary. But yeah, it just every time you read out another one for Seattle, it's just like, this doesn't make sense. Nope. It doesn't make sense. Why would you go after them? They've been bad. They finished back down in the basement this year. They did not have a great season. Why would you want to go and ransack their players? You know, what do you think they're going to bring to the table next year? But yeah, especially Terry Knight had a bit of a downer season. Yeah, because obviously Harris Serafino this time last year was sharing the points leaders award. Neither of them have lived up to that this year. Nope. So it's like, it makes no sense. Yeah. It just makes no sense. Why target Seattle? Yeah. It makes no sense. It's crazy. To me, every time I saw another Seattle player go, I was like thinking, oh Jesus Christ, what is going on? I just kept thinking, yeah, you're just adding on more years to how long it's going to take for Seattle to really make a splash. Because this team, they did not live up to expectations. There's so many reasons for that. You know, not just chemistry, but also the fact they had a useless coach who had no idea what he was doing. Never gave us confidence in the first place, so that was a bit of a bad hiring there, Megan Turner. So I just feel really sorry for Seattle. And I know a lot of you right now watching thinking, why? Because literally this time last year, they just went and took all the big guns from the level 6 teams. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we've had a year of them in the league now. We've had a chance to see what this team's like on paper, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So I just kind of feel, and I've said before, I'll say again, if you're trying to build an expansion team from the ground up, wouldn't you rather go and, just nab players from the teams that have been perennial playoff contenders, the teams that made the World Cup finals this past season? Would you want to go for them rather than go for the newbies who only really entered this time last year and who haven't really lived up to the high expectations that got placed on them? So, I just honestly, I just feel so sorry for Seattle because of how many players they've lost and the kind of talent that they've lost. Now, in theory, we kind of always knew that Seattle was going to lose either her or Alex Carpenter. Agreed? Great, good. Even though both of them made it very, very clear they both want to stay, I just looked at it and thought, yeah, you're only going to keep one of them. It's either Harry or it's going to be Alex that you keep. And when Alex Carter, because she was the first to be signed, when Alex Carter got signed, I just knew, okay, here he's going. It's just I didn't foresee the circumstances of how she was going to go. But yeah, so, and is that crazy that Harry Knight 2 seasons in a row has been dealt to the expansion team? And we're sure this is the same Harry Knight that's won 5 Olympic medals. Yep. Are we sure it's not another player called Harry Knight that's done less for the sport? No. It's Steve Harry. For a better just check. I know. Because it just feels mad. I mean, remember, of course, we took the piss out of it last year with Boston for dealing Harry Knight to the Torrent. And then, of course, 6 weeks into this regular season, they all threw that back in our faces. Because obviously the match without her. But yeah, here we go against Seattle now. You've now dealt her. And it's like... And again, like Boston, Seattle had the choice. They had the choice to protect her or not to protect her. They chose not to protect her. But does Detroit think they can give us a World Cup? She's not got many years left. No. At least Captain Clutch does have to pull that now. Yeah. So Harry is the only one of my 3 left that's not won the World Cup. Because in our sport we all have 3 players that we could just easily name off the top of our head straight away when they ask you to name players for your sport. For me, with women's hockey, it's Kendall Coy-Schofield, Marie Fleet-Flynn, and Harry Knight. And Knight's the only one that's not got a World Cup. Can she do that with Detroit next year? I know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But honestly, I just feel so sorry for Seattle. Especially as their third expansion sisters, who we're going to come on to shortly, Vancouver, they're pretty much having a whale of a time! They're having a whale of a time, with the sunbrellas, sit the deck chairs, sipping champagne, pina coladas and all that jazz. They're having a whale of a time! Especially if they, of course, were already a few weeks away from one drafting KK. And we're never going to hit the end of that. Yep. How did he get that so right? Not like me and Lady, he was roped into this league. Me and Lady were committed from day one. He has to be roped in. That's what makes it worse. Yeah, but honestly, I don't know what to make of it. I honestly don't know what else I can say. It's gonna make you feel better for the torrent. It's just, my heart goes out to them. It really does. My heart really does go out to them. And I just hope that somehow next season they'll be able to recover from all the massive losses they have incurred. Do you two want to add anything more? Now I'd rather let you carry your pissy train. Run it all the way down to Piccadilly! No, I just think, yeah, Seattle lost bad. They really did. You do worry what's going to be like Seattle in those first few weeks of next season. Because they've lost so much talent, so much firepower. I don't know if they did well in the draft or not, I really don't. Yeah. It's tough for Seattle, especially as expansion team, especially if you, of course, you finished last in these standings, of course, didn't even win the gold plan. That makes it so much more worse. So, from a team that suffered badly from expansion this year to a team that suffered badly expansion last year, because we're now going to move on to the last of the inaugural 6 teams, and that is TO, and we'll see if they did any better than what they did last year. Okay, so last of the inaugural 6 teams, it's TO, who didn't end up losing that many players, actually. I think out of all the inaugural 6 teams, they've lost the least. They've only lost 3 players. Daryl Watts, Jesse Comfort, and Maggie Connors. Oh, yeah. But I also would say 3 huge losses. Oh yeah! Despite the fact they didn't lose that many players, you look at those losses and think, oh my god, they're going to really be mixed. Yeah. Well, I think it was very obvious that Daryl Watts was going regardless. Yeah, GAK's we can't make it quite clear before we got all the way. That, yeah, it's pretty clear that Watts' time in TO was done. And I'm not surprised, given how she would have been high up there as a huge candidate for an EFO, and she was given the EFO. She was given Detroit's EFO. I would love to see the lists the expansion teams have to do. So their target lists and their EFO lists. Because I'm convinced, and I know a lot of people are too, I'm convinced Daryl Watts was pretty much up there on everyone's EFO. And of course, the rule was, if more than one team had you for their EFO, then the player got to choose which team they went to. And then obviously decide the terms. So, I'd love that information to become a public document, to just see, who was potentially going to be targeted and all that there. Yeah, so Daryl Watts ends up going to Detroit, as does Jesse Comfort. I felt Comfort was a big signing for Hockey Town. Because I think we were all expecting, Harry to go. Because there was a lot of murmuring about Harry starting with Detroit very early on in Phase 2 before we got to the whole shenanigans, debacle, whatever you want to call it. So when Compa was announced that far signing for Detroit in Phase 2, I was like, wow, okay. Big loss. Big loss, because that's somebody you think, with Daryl Watts going, and maybe with more star power going, because obviously we're now free agency and things happen there. Yes, indeed. You'd look at Jesse Compa but also Maggie Collins, you think, these are 2 players that really could now have room to really step up to the plate. And now they're not, because they're now gone. Interesting how Maggie Connors was the lone sector to go to Saze. I'm so surprised that Troy Ryan only ended up signing one sector's player to join him in Saturday. And yet you had multiple Fleet players go and join Chris Barr in Hamilton. Okay, a difference there is, of course, Chris Barr's only the head coach. He's not in both roles. But, you know, I thought, you know, if Troy Ryan wanted to, he could have used this as an opportunity to really, you know, look at which players did well in his tenure in TO and go, right, I'll have them. Mm-hmm. He can come and join me in Saturday. Yeah. But I think Maggie Collins is going to be is a good acquisition for Saturday. I think she's going to slot in quite nicely. This will give her an opportunity to shine, because obviously, you know, we know TO, like Montreal, is a team that's got so much star power in its belt. It's quite hard to really make your move. You'll see as well as like those secondary players or third players in the roster. Mm-hmm. Or fourth line, maybe, yeah. So I think Maggie Collins, I think it's good that she's now given this opportunity to go to a new city, to a new team, a new market, and really just be able to, you know, shine. Yeah, and you know, so I think that's really good. But I think it was a bit strange for me that Troy Ryan, he only went and got one set to play an expansion process. Now, obviously, as James has pointed out, we are in free agency, so there's a chance that might happen there as well. But I was expecting at least 2, maybe 3. No, he just wants to go and tear out York's family instead. Yeah, because he nabbed at least 2 players from New York there. Might have been 3. Yeah, so New York, so Troy's not going to be welcome in New York. And if you say that's who Saturday's host should be, I will kill you. I will kill you right now. No, don't say it. Don't you dare, because I will kill you. You dare say it. I'll just be a problem then. Darryl Watts is going to be a huge risk, because obviously she was part of that massive trade that TR and Ottawa did last season. Was it New Year's Eve? I believe it was, because 24 hours later, they play each other. Can't remember where it was. No, I can't remember if it was TO or Ottawa, but yeah. So last season, obviously, we had this massive trade between Toronto and Ottawa, which was literally just as we were about to enter 2025, so we were just about to finish the calendar year in 2024, Toronto made this massive trade on New Year's Eve, and then the next day, the two sides faced one another. So the trade, the players bought the trade, they didn't even have a chance to settle into their new teams, because straight away they were already at it against their former opponents. It was quite the talk of the town this time last year. It really was. Yeah, that was the big trade of last season. Yeah. Every season so far, I think this has been really interesting, but every season the PHL so far has had one massive blockbuster trade. Yeah, it's always caused ruckus. We were involved in the first one, yes. That saw, you know, Tapani and Jake's go, and that was a big blow at the time. Because I was thinking, really? Do we need to make this trade in somewhere in the season? Yeah, well, it worked out at the end. I know, but it just felt a bit weird. But I remember the time thinking, really? We just got started already. We're making a trade. Anyway, but of course it paid out in the end. How's it not going to pay out in the end? We won the World Cup twice. Back to back. Yeah, so what have they made for TO going forward now? Because obviously this time last year we all kind of felt, oh, Scepters, what have you done? You are literally going to be in that basement. You're going to be fighting for the goal plan. And yet, while they did have quite a slow start, in the end, they actually did found a way to get themselves back in the game. And maybe, you know, kind of the inaugural season, everyone said, oh, if New York had 5 more games, they probably would have got into the playoffs, yeah? Because by that point, they were firing their stride. Well, I think the same could be said for TO. If TO had 5 more games on the calendar, they would have got into that playoff spot. They would have got 4th place. Would Montreal have then chosen them over us? We'll never know. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen next year. Because obviously the team's got a new head coach coming in. Manon's brother. Yeah. Yeah, Manon's brother. It's funny, isn't it? They've not just got any new head coach coming in. They've got Manon's brother. That's not awkward at all, is it? Is it, Detroit? That's not awkward at all. Yeah, so I do think, could we see the improvements here next year? It's interesting, because I think maybe a new head coach was what Toronto needed. Because, let's face it, it came to playoffs, Troy Ryan got them absolutely nowhere. And that's why I'm concerned for you and Sarah Taylor. Oh, I know. But I think with Zara there, look at that as a team and think, this is probably going to take time. I don't think it's going to be instant success straight away like the other three probably will be. I think with Zara it will take time. It wouldn't surprise me if they get a high draft pick next year. Maybe not the gold plans, they don't seem to be that bad. But it would not surprise me if they were to draft high in the draft next year. They can't go a high pick this year because they're fourth. Yeah, but I can maybe see them get a top 3 pick next year. Which might help them. Might hurt them. I think when it gets to their second season, that's when you might see Sarze really just take off. Because the way the Boston's put right now, I just think first year might be rocky, and then second year is when you'll see massive improvement. Because hopefully by we get to the second year, Troy Robb will have been violated the situation and thought, yeah, it's not working, I need to just pick one or the other. We'll see what happens. But with Toronto, you think maybe this was all for the best? Maybe it was for the best, to get a new head coach coming in. Somebody who could maybe transform this team for the better, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so I think it's so interesting how Toronto hasn't lost that big. They haven't lost as many players compared to the rest. But yeah, I actually think, you know what? Could Toronto be the positions I thought Montreal were in going to this season? So what? Should have a strong start because you haven't some of that big of losses. Yeah. Because remember, going into this season, I kind of felt Montreal would be high contenders for the league crown again because I kind of felt your losses weren't as big compared to everyone else. And yet Montreal had a slow start, and then in the second half is when it all then just took off. So I do think with Toronto, I think there should be no reason why Toronto, unless Pascal can't get his footing in. I can't see any reason why Toronto can't have a good start next year and potentially put themselves in the conversation. Because your losses aren't as big compared to everyone else. So I think they could be the ones that will challenge Vancouver. Who we're about to come on to in a moment. That's bold. That's very bold. Well, let's face it. Vancouver's going to definitely get playoffs now. They're definitely going to get playoffs now. But I think maybe Toronto might be the team that could surprise me. And who knows? Maybe we could have an all-Canadian World Cup final. That would be very likely. Tier Vancouver in the finals. Yeah, but did anybody think it was going to get Ottawa and Montreal this year? No. You did. Well, I did. We got towards playoff time because when it got close to playoff time, everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, we think it's going to be Montreal and Boston," and I was like, not sure about that. Not too sure about that. Especially as we all knew Montreal was going to do what they were going to do with regards to their pick. But also look at Toronto and think, you haven't done that badly this time around. It's almost like you've learned the mistakes from last year. Yeah. I'm quite surprised. Maybe that's what I had. I'm shocked. I thought Toronto would be a lot worse, and it hasn't. Yeah, they could have went skate, really. They really have. Yeah. Right, okay, just one more to go. One more to go. And it's the team who's pretty much just sitting back, looking pretty. Vancouver's next. that's how I feel like we should be right now. Literally outside, literally full on disco. Yeah. Because literally, Vancouver, they're literally the cat that got the cream. I mean, literally, they're probably right now just having a nice barbecue. You know, making the most of this bloody heat wave. They're probably just sitting back, you know, on the deck chairs, getting the picars out, the champagne. Nice Mr. Whippy. Oh god, I need one of those right now. You know, getting all that. I bet you, Cara Goldeneyes got a nice massive glass of bread and thinking, oh, I don't know why everyone thought expansion was so bad last year. This is pretty much a doddle. Why is everyone getting so upset? Always goes to the camera. I'll tell you why, Cara. The reason why everyone got so upset last year is because you nabbed everyone's big guns. That's why everyone got upset last year. I mean, literally, on paper, this team should have been a World Cup champion. On paper, this should have been a World Cup champion. It didn't work. It didn't work. And I will hold my hands up and I will admit, right, okay, that I did have Vancouver as my, if it can't be us, I like it to be them pick. Because I kind of felt it'd be nice to have somebody else who can say they won the World Cup in their first year of existence, and I thought Vancouver would have been the team to do it. And I also did say on record, I feel if Vancouver did not win the World Cup in 2026, they will get one within their first 5 years. So, and given how, obviously, they won the goal plan this year, they, as this one brilliantly predicted, they drafted KK, they are stacked to the brim. This team, there should be no excuses next year for Vancouver not to be the playoffs. There should be no excuses. This team is playoff bound. So, yeah, and just crazy how they only lost, in the end, 2 players. Because Vancouver did lose technically 3, but like Boston, they also got one of their players back on a trade. So it was Abby Barine who they lost to Las Vegas in the 4th phase, but they got her back and traded away their pick in the second round. So the first pick in the second round. That's what they expect Vegas. So the players that Vancouver actually lost were Sydney Bard and Nia Yob-Smith. That's all. Just 2 players. 2 players! Just 2 players! It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, and you look at the talent on there. Sophie Jakes, Sarah Nurse, who was badly handled with expansion last year. Ashton Bell, Erin Smashmeyer, Hannah Miller was there for the taking. Kristen Campbell. I could go on and on and on. There were so many players that could have been taken from Jen Gardner. Another one, yeah, Jen Gardner, who we did put on our list. We did put on our list. Okay? We did put on our list. Okay? So many players, and yet Vancouver only loses 2. 2! Go. I can't deal with it. In fact, I need a moment. Go. Swab, you go. Take over for a minute. I think you're right, George. No excuses for next year. Playoffs! Just gonna say, take over. Right. Okay, go on, plug. Just want to say this up real quick. This here's got to be playoffs next year. No excuses. I'll ask George a moment. He just popped up. Eventually, yeah, the fact they managed to take those macros is huge. Oh yeah, absolutely huge. What you ask? I want to ask, is Vancouver still your pick? Oh, you want to know if I'm going to do a Tessa? Yeah. Oh, I'd say yeah. The Tessa keeps picking the same team every year. I might as well do it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I am going to keep Vancouver as my World Cup pick for next year, even though it's only just restarted free agency. But I think because how well Vancouver has escaped expansion, pretty much without a single scratch on them, and the fact that they drafted so well in Detroit, I can't see a reason to change my pick right now. I can't see any reason to change my pick until we get to midway point of the season. Because you remember, when we got to Milan, I kind of changed it and made a prediction for America and Canada. I predicted if it was going to be American team, would be Boston, and if it was Canada team, would be Ottawa. So this just shows how good I don't do predictions. Why I don't do them? That's why I don't do them. That's why I never have. But no, but I'm gonna keep the Goldeneyes as my. If it's not us, I like it to be them. Who wins the cup? So I'm gonna keep the Goldeneyes as my pick, because right now on paper, I look at this team and I feel that this team should win the World Cup next year. It really should. I mean, everybody lost at least one big star player. Vancouver didn't. They still got all their star players intact. So a lot of those players that they took from Noble 60s last year, they're still there. They're still there. The big question for me. Hold on. The bloody heat. Yeah, George can't cut this, brother. Oh, that's come out of nowhere. Sorry about that. Right. What were you going to say? I was going to talk about free agency. Oh, right. Go on. The big question for me is what's going to happen in free agency. Because while Vancouver hasn't really lost that big expansion, there is still a question mark about free agency and what happens there. And that might determine whether or not Vancouver still is a contender for the World Cup next year. Yeah. So I'm quite surprised about what Campbell's saying. Yeah. Especially as how, in round 4... Yeah, this shocked all of us, by the way. Yeah. Secondly, in round 4, Vancouver drafted a netminder when they didn't really need to draft another netminder, because Matchminder you protected, and Campbell managed to survive the process. Yeah. So, you look at that and think, do you really need to mess with your netminding? Yeah. Not really. Unless they fear that Campbell's going to get dealt in free agency. That's a big question mark. Yeah. So that, maybe that was a backups pick, just in case things go south in free agency. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Just try. Yeah, maybe. Just maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Right, it's crazy. It's crazy how Vancouver hardly has a scratch on them. And I think everyone's going to look at this team, Richard Warren literally just throw everything at them, because everyone's going to look at Vancouver and I think, how did you get so lucky? Yeah. How did you get away with it? How did you literally get away with murder? I'll let Mabel deal with that. I'll let Mabel deal with that. I'll let bloody Mabel deal with that one. But yeah, I can see your point. Everyone's going to look at Vancouver and think, God, this team did so well. Let's get them. So never mind Montreal having a target on their back for being the World Cup champions now. Vancouver's also going to have a target on their back next year, because no one's going to be happy with the fact that they pretty much got their core intact. Is it going to be so lovely next year not to have a target on our backs? Is it going to be so lovely? I know, right? Because we've had it for 2 full seasons. Yeah. But that, of course, is the price you pay to be World Champion. I know, but it's going to be so lovely. We could basically treat next season as how it was in season 1. We don't have to worry about anything. We just take it off stride. No one's going to put a target on us. It's good for it. And let's now all point instead of the ones that have got targets on their backs. Yeah. Oh, nice. Victoire. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly. How did you get so lucky? How did you get so lucky? How? Yeah. How? How did you manage to get so lucky? I do not know. I do not know. Yeah, I honestly do not know. Yeah, but after this, you just look at it and think, wow, this team, on paper, same as this past season has gone, on paper, you should be World Cup champion. And time will tell. Time will tell. But I just feel now going into next season, there should be no excuses to not make playoffs. No excuses. Because you pretty much got your core intact. You can now be able to bolster up that core in the entry draft. So there should be no excuses for Vancouver going into next season. No. Not at all. No. Anyone you want to add before we go and sign off? Anything else? Or do you feel I just want to add? Yeah, just thought me up there. I think about I'll sort of know. Might have been the cursor. Okay, anything else? What? I just feel, oh my god, how do you get so lucky? How is it the Goldeneyes have come away without a single scratch on them? That's what I want to know. That is what I want to know. Yeah, you lucky bastards. We'll leave it at that then. We'll leave it at that and go and sign off. And so, there you have it. That concludes our whistle-stop tour of the current existing teams. We've now taken you through all their losses. It's been interesting to look back on it. It just shows you how unbalanced those losses are. Because I mentioned 5 teams have lost 6 players. 1 team's lost 4. 1 team's lost 3. And 1 team hardly lost any at all. So I am really worried about how competitive we're going to be as a league next season. I do worry if we are going to be able to keep up that parity and that competitive balance, which has been such a brilliant USP over the last 3 years. Especially as we do not know what's going to happen with the expansion team, what are they going to do. There's so many unknowns going into season 4. There's so many unknowns, and as about this expansion process has just thrown up more questions than answers. And the fact that, it's so unbalanced losses, it just makes it feel like some teams are really going to struggle to come out the gates than others. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we are right now in the thick of free HC, so basically just keep an eye on your teams about its socials to see what's happening pretty much each day. Just take by week. But I think in terms of expansion, which has got to do those 2 episodes, we're going to go through our 4th on it as a whole, and that's what we've got to just do that. And then we're done. Put expansion in the rear view mirror for a very long time. But for today, that's going to be all. Thanks so much for joining us until next time. Take care.